It's my great pleasure to have Mr. Greg Campbell with me today.
I'm Greg Campbell. I am serving as managing partner of Prosalus Capital Partners, located in Houston, Texas, at the Texas Medical Center. And we focus on investing in companies that are involved in personalized medicine, health IT, patient engagement, and medical devices. As any investor will tell you, one of the first things that they're trying to do is reduce their risk or minimize their risk, or at least be aware of the risk that are involved in any kind of investment. So for us, knowing that there is existing IP that is supportive of the deal is very, very helpful to know. And then diving deep into that IP is essential and a very, very critical part of our due diligence process. And this IP may involve patents. So we'll look at patents to see how broad those patents are, how narrow those patents are. We may also take a look to see when they were actually issued. Are they pending? What other things can we see as potential continuations of those patents, so that we have a sense of how long the company and their technology may be protected. And then also getting a good understanding of who actually owns the patents, who actually owns the intellectual property. Is it the company itself? Is it the founder in their personal name, which we have found that often or not? And sometimes, is it something that they are licensing from, let's say, a university? And what are the rules there? What are the issues around that intellectual property that actually creates a barrier? And then is there anybody that has to be paid for the right to do that? Like many other investors, we use a scorecard in evaluating deals that we may participate in. So about 20% of the weight of our scorecard is tied in with intellectual property, tied to that product, that service, whatever the company is offering. So it is very, very important in our overall weighting of those factors associated with. And probably in our scorecard, we may have 6 or 7 elements related to intellectual property that is part of the scoring process. It's something that gets looked at very early on in our process. If we like the concept, if we like the management team, we like the market that we're involved in, the next thing that we're going to take a look at is what's an intellectual property and how well is it protected? Does it create a moat, or does it help create what we consider sort of part of the special sauce of the company? So that we're looking at this early on, we're looking at it continually. We put about 20% out of 100 points associated with that intellectual property. So it is very, very significant to us, and something that we invest not only looking at the science of it, but also looking at the legality of it, looking at relationships of license, payments of royalties, anything else that's associated with that all gets evaluated as part of our about 20% of our scorecard. Anything that impacts patent protection is going to be a key element in maybe valuing or devaluing the investment. I don't want to sound negative towards those who are trying to get vaccines.
Of course.
To those who are in need, who aren't as fortunate maybe as we are in this country of having fairly much access to vaccines as most recent times if we need them. So there is, there's some sense of the TRIPS waiver applying to vaccines to those who are in desperate need. And I think that can be worked out. I think there's a group of people from multiple countries looking at that whole opportunity. Where it gets significantly troublesome is where we get beyond vaccines and we start going into diagnostic therapeutics. And even now, as you start hearing noises, you start hearing about, well, if it applies to vaccines and maybe therapeutics and diagnostics for COVID, maybe it should apply over here or over there. And, that's what we call creep. And a creep on a TRIPS waiver would be disastrous to, I think, the healthcare industry, into healthcare companies that are growing up and looking for investment, and certainly for the investment community. If that protection of IP is not there, there's going to be a lot of hesitancy of being able to invest in those companies who have spent a lot of capital building up these drugs or devices or other elements in the healthcare space.